First and foremost, before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakadash.
Also, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to all you brothers out there. And it's another week. We're out here prophesying, and we're gonna, just land back what's happening over there at the main camp. And basically, you had this. He looks like an Edomite. That's what he appears to be, but he's really a Jake. And the elder Uriah bumped into him at work, and they were chopping it up, and pretty much the individual mentioned Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, and then him and Elder Uriah ended up going back and forth with some things, and the elder said hey you should show up to camp, and he ended up showing up, okay, and with that being all said, was it James 1:1, the First Peter 1:1 as well? All right, look, we have our people who are scattered amongst all nations. This also speaks about that in Acts, the 2nd chapter. Okay, our people are under, or in every nation, okay, every kingdom you can think of, and you're gonna have some of our people look like the heathens, and that's due to the fact that our men, because look, your nationality goes by the seed line of your father, okay? That's how your nationality is determined. Okay, so with that being said, our men mixed and mingled with the heathen women, and we have Israelites that look like Esau, Moab, Ammon, Japhetic tribes, the Kemetic tribes, so on and so forth. You see? All right. But did you have that James?
First Peter.
It's James 1:1.
This one first.
It says, James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings.
Exactly. So, and mind you, this is James, right? The brother of Yahweh Shai. Okay? And he grew up with Yahweh Shai, and he was taught by him. So, best believe that this is a man of the Lord, and this man is not going off. This apostle is not going off. Okay? You see? So hey, these letters that you read about, and in particular in the New Testament, these epistles, they were written to Israelites.
Right.
They weren't written to everybody. It was a specific group. Okay? Like I'll just mention this, right? The Romans, right? The book of Romans. You had Israelites in Rome, the Jews in Rome, as it speaks about, and that's whom the letters were written to. They weren't written to the Edomites in Rome, the Moabites in Rome, the Ammonites in Rome, whoever was in Rome at that time. Okay? And look, all nations were in Rome. They even show you that in the movie Gladiator. Okay? They show you the Kemetic tribes. They show you all the the different Arabs that were around. Okay? You see? All right? It's just like now. Everybody's here in America. Even the car had to chime in. Okay? You see? So the scriptures say there's nothing new under the sun. But
It's a melting pot.
Yeah.
Rome 2.0, man.
that's right.
You know what I'm saying? From the architecture to the fucking pagan holiday custom to everything, man, to the politicians. You know what I'm saying? The medical, Rome 2.0.
You got that, Peter?
Yes, this is 1 Peter, verse 1. Yeah, 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 1. Peter, an apostle of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia,
Yep.
Asia, and Bithynia.
So right there, it shows you that there was Israelites in these lands in that time period, right? And so how much more now?
Right.
Okay.
Scattered.
Jake has been scattered because of slavery, war, financial opportunities, so on and so forth. All right. Natural disasters cause migration, patterns. You see? All right. So Jake is everywhere. And that's why I'll say this, because really, I only hear Great Millstone and maybe a couple other camps, right? Maybe like Men of Valor. groups, like that, right? I hate using that term, but affiliate groups, right? You know what I'm saying? They'll push that that there's going to be Israelites that look like the other nations, Israelite foreigners. But the point being, though, is you don't hear these other groups, right? Like IUIC, ISUPK, Sakari, whoever, right? They don't talk about this. Everything is just so black and white, so to speak.
Right.
Right. And with that being said, and that's a dangerous game to play, because you might have an Israelite that's that hears this word, right, comes up and wants to inquire of what's going on, and you basically deny them access, all right, to getting into heaven, so to speak. He's an Edomite, fuck him. You're going into slavery. Give Revelation 13, 9, and 10. Read. All right, you know how Jake is. They got the microphone. Can't even dialogue with him like a, you know what I'm saying? Like a normal individual. They cut you up. Shut up, E. Read. But this guy, the whole time is an Israelite. Or whoever. It could be a woman too,
I saw that happen from the end. You know what I'm saying? I was at one of those t-shirt camps at the beach, man, Rainbow Beach. And so the Hamites, so like some Nigerian looking people, I don't know if they're from Kenya, Nigeria, some African pulled up, bro. But they got the Tesla with the butterfly doors, and they hopping out. They got the dashikis on and shit. I'm like, look, that's probably Jake. And then the nigga I was preaching with, he like, yeah, like, oh man, yeah, Jesus and shit. And he got the instantly going on him. But then it was a so-called white person, man, some food from the food truck. And then one of the guys on the camera, hey, you gonna fight this shit. Then the leader was like, no, man, that might be a Israelite. Well, what's the difference between this guy and those Africans? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't know. It's off the spirit, man. And you don't want to offend the little one trying to come and get in line and follow the doctrine,
Yeah, and I want to add to your situation, because you have ISUPK in specific, right? What's so funny about them is, starting with General Yohana, right? They actually were at One West, you know what I'm saying? He was at One West. He learned, from our elders and apostles, elders, right? And they know that our people, a good majority of them, right, good bulk of them, came from the western part of Africa, like Nigeria, Sierra Leone, all right, so on and so forth, right? Those different, tribes off the west coast, they know that, right? But then they'll say, because there was that one video, and it's probably still out there, where you had Captain Cesariak. He was dialoguing with this young Nigerian, I think it was a Nigerian boy, right? This maybe like, he's probably 11, 12, 13. And they were talking about, Hebrew Israelites going back and forth, whatever. And they asked him, like, oh, where are you from? He said, I'm from Nigeria. And he goes, well, brother, this ain't for you. Blah, 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 And clearly this was a Jake, though, bro. Like, it's like, what are you talking about, man? You see, these guys, they don't have that discernment. They don't have that spiritual, knowledge to say, who's Jake and who's fake. You know what I'm saying? All right? Like even her, bro, you know what I'm saying? She damn near looks like a Moab or Ammon. And clearly she's, you know what I'm saying? Some red bone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, all her people light skinned as hell and shit. Like my cousin, my uncle. The brother Shemaiah light skinned as hell, so people in my family come out with super light skinned. So he went to fucking Wisconsin. He only deal with the Edomite woman. Like this, for my whole life, this nigga only deal with Edomites. So all my cousins come out, motherfucking light as fuck. Then look like Edomites, curly hair and shit. It look good, man. But just off having one kid, man.
Yep.
That shit, the whole dynamic changed. But those are Israelites.
Exactly. And then, that chick that popped up right there, she kind of looked like, you saw her eyes, you saw her. She damn near looked like, one of you know how you see like those interviews out there in Japan? They're like, yeah, my dad's Nigerian, and my mom's, Japanese, and That this is what I deal with. And it's funny, all those so-called mixed breed individuals, right, in those lands, they always deal with persecution. They're always looked down upon. You know?
Like
And
that one guy on Instagram who be rapping and tall, he look like a black Japanese Chinese guy, and he be like, real smooth. He real smooth and shit. And he was like, you know, when he said some shit about they always he was rapping, he was saying people always talking about him because he didn't look regular on me. Whatever the fuck he is, whether he's from, I think he's from China and shit. But
Okay.
he a tall Jake though. And he be rapping, he got a deep voice, real smooth. I'm gonna send it out on Instagram. But he said in something, he said he always went through discrimination, man, growing up. And he was like an outcast because he was just, you know, his voice was deep, he was a little different. You know? He really,
Yeah, I got something. And it's not by accident that the Lord has us in this situation, because it was brought on us by, for our defiance, in which He was trying to lead us in the way of righteousness. This is 2nd Esdras 2:7. 2nd Esdras 2:7 reads, "Let them be scattered abroad among the heathen. Let their names be put out of the earth, for they have despised my covenant." So again, the punishment to know we are the most beautiful, the most attractive, the most intellectual, we're just scattered everywhere. And again, our punishment, we can't use our own gifts to get us out of a situation that only Yahweh Shai is going to get us out of.
Shalom. All praise to Yahweh Bashem
all praise
Yahushua.
to him for what he does, what he will do, you know.
Yeah,
Or what we
but
do.
like you said, Art, that was a punishment. Like really, you're supposed to, look like your people. There shouldn't be any confusion. You know what I'm saying?
Right, brother.
All right. The fact that you have, Israelites that look like these other nations, that's a curse, man. And they gotta bear that burden if they're in the truth. All right. And there's a lot of brothers out there that got to deal with it. And you got people on the comment board talking shit on the streets.
Fucking
Parody video. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good, man. See, at the end of the day, if you're a part of the elect, these different persecutions, afflictions, etc., right? It's not going to separate you from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, as it says in the epistles. I forget where it's at exactly. All right, but these things, won't separate you, from the Lord. If you're a part of the Lord's elect, what did the scripture say? What? My sheep shall hear my voice. If you're a part of the elect, you're going to follow the Lamb wheresoever if he goeth. So, like, I'm going to get that real quick. This is John chapter 10. I'm going to start at I would just start at John 10:1. This is John 10:1. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. And I always like to bring out, you can't go through the side door, all right? The balcony, the patio, what is that, the cellar doors, you know what I'm saying?
open up.
That old school, that's I don't know if that's elsewhere, that's like some Chicago shit, you know what I'm saying?
Talking about, oh no, I'm thinking about Twister was coming, open the thing, and I'm like,
But you can't go these other, you know what I'm saying, these other routes. Through a window. No, you got to go through the front door. That's it. Because there's only one way. See? And it says here, but he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them. And that's talking about Yahweh Shai, mind you. And the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. The sheep is talking about the elect right here. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. All right, I'm going to jump down a little bit. This is John 10 and just straight to the point, 26. Believe ye, but ye believe, 25. Yahushua answered them, I told you, and ye believe not. And this, he's talking to these wicked scribes and Pharisees. Okay, the works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But ye believe not, because ye are not of my sheep, as I said unto you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life. They shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father which gave them me is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. And you see, the elect, they're going to follow Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. Okay? So they're going to hear this word and they're going to follow it. It doesn't matter what they go through. And it doesn't matter how you look at. You can look like this brother, you know, all you brothers who look at, you know, like straight Judah, or myself looking like Esau. Okay? Other brothers may look like Moab, Ammon, whoever. You know what I'm saying? Okay? You see? If you're a part of the elect, you're going to follow the Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. For whatever you brothers got.
It's Isaiah 11. And Isaiah 11:11, it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Patros.
So like you said, Syria, right? And now, hey, those Assyrians, I was saw a little information on them, right? You know, they're over there nearby, like Syria, right? That little, you know, little pocket, right? And they consist of, you know, it was like 3 different groups. Like I said, I was watching this video on it. Now, one of them are the Armenians, okay? Now, the reason why I bring that out is, you know, you got Kim Kardashian, right? Her whole family, you know, you got the one brother, and then she has really technically 2 other sisters, so it's 4 of them, because those last 2 aren't. They're not of the same seed line. You know, that's that Bruce Jenner's fucking kids, and he's an Edomite. All right. The point being, those 4 though, they come from the same, you know, pops, and he's Armenian. We know those are Jakes, man. All right. You know, Kim K and Khloe Kardashian and I forgot the last one. Slips my mind. And Courtney. There we go. Bro, they always bicker back and forth, literally get into fights. Straight nigger women. All right. They're always with fucking some type of Jake. You know?
Pregnant by Jake.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
They leaving Jake.
Exactly. You know? And that's just a perfect example, right? You know, I just wanted to use them as, you know, some type of face that you can, you know, picture, okay? That you can connect these, you know, these different places, you know, with these particular people, right? All right, but keep going. So it was Assyria.
It says, and from Egypt, and from Patros, and from Cush, and from Elam.
Yeah, Cush, hey, perfect example is Nipsey Hussle. All right, because he's Ethiopian, or was he a Trayan? He was Ethiopian, right? You know, all right, and the Ethiopians and the Trayans are the same people, okay? You know, they just somehow split during whatever war, whatever disagreements that they had. Right? It's like Pakistan and India, same people, just they had, you know, disagreements and they broke off. All right. The point being though that hey, he's a Jake. All right. You know, keep reading.
It says, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. So scattered abroad. The Lord continuously says that we are scattered abroad. He said in Tobit 13, confess him before the Gentiles, you nation of Israel. Y'all scattered on among them. Roughly paraphrasing. The Lord has his people all over the place. Hey, via captivity, via whether it's in traveling, financial. Jake like, man, shit, I'm leaving America. In the 60s, I'm leaving. I need. It's too much, too expensive. I go over here, and then now he's in Japan and shit.
And that's been going on for a while. You know, you had all these Jakes, right? You know, during these different wars. You know, these great wars, like, you know, let's just take World War II, Vietnam War, Korean War, all, you know, oh my God, what was the one where they were, the Iraqi War, okay? Jake's been all over. Hey, Jake's get deployed in these areas, right? They might meet a nice young woman, clap, start having, you know, family, and they're like, you know, I'm not going back to America. What's the point? Or even if they don't have that, they're just like, you know what? I like the lifestyle here, the culture. I feel more relaxed. I'm actually happy. You know, I'll stay over here now. You see? I know you were talking about that, right? Weren't you like in Germany for a little bit?
Yeah, I know at least 2-3 guys that ended up staying. At least 2 of them had babies with German women, and they're not into a rush to come to America. So Rose is like, hey, I think just leave the military and stay over here. Because the reason I'm in the military volunteering is because I was trying to get out of the streets. whatever. So, you know, the sky. And over in these places, making more and more nigga jokes.
That shit, quick sad note, my uncle, my daddy brother, my biological uncle, my daddy big brother, his ass, and he one of them passport niggas. He down there, lady pregnant right now. She
Really?
pregnant, they taking pictures and shit. They on the beach, he in a hammock airborne. Airborne, he on Facebook with that motherfucker hammock on the beach, sitting with $100 and shit. That's clean with the country doing all type of shit. He ain't arguing and fighting or nothing.
Exactly,
We're not
man.
having children, but I'm just going to have people everywhere having their children with them.
And, you know, just over time, they show you that in the movie True Romance, all right? If your brothers have ever seen that, you know what I'm talking about. You know, and you had so you got to watch the movie. But long story short, the main character, his father, well, the main character got caught up with some mob activities, right? And since they were trying to find him, right, they ended up, scooping up his dad, right? Scooped up his pops, and they, start, beating the shit out of him, do some shit to him, right? And then the mob boss and the main character's dad are just sitting at a table, right? So the dude starts speaking, right? And then, they're going back and forth. And he, I guess he goes, I read, this is what he said, he's like, I read a lot. And he said that basically, he's like, hey, you Sicilians, you're part eggplant, right? And he's talking about that basically you're a nigger, right? And they're going back and forth, and he goes, what did he say? The Moors conquered, Sicily and Italy. He goes, Moors are niggas. You know how they say it out there? Niggas. All right? And he's like, and what did he say? He goes, so your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother got fucked by a nigga. And he said, what did he say? He goes, that's where,
What movie you say?
True Romance. You gotta watch this shit, bro.
Christian Slave.
It's fucking hilarious, bro. It's a good movie, man. But that's like one of the deepest scenes, bro. Y'all watch Sharp Rock It Out. But it's funny because it's Quentin Tarantino. Tarantino, he knows his shit, man. All right, he's of the world, but he knows a lot of history. A lot of these, like what is it, Django? What else? Pulp Fiction said some shit in there. What else? The Magnificent, like Eight, Kill Bill. All they throw some deep historical facts that goes over a lot of people's head. The point being, though, is that what did he say? Your great-great-great-grandmother fucked a nigga, and he said that's where that's how blonde hair and blue eyes turn to dark hair and dark skin. Because a lot, especially them Sicilians, they got that jet black hair. A lot of them got kind of like curly or thicker textured hair. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them are like very dark skin. All right, so like tan. You know what I'm saying? And he said the Moors did so much fucking that they changed the landscape of Italy. And that's basically what happens, man, over time. Okay, to the point where Jake is now in these different nations that they look like the other nations, man. Hey, if our sea line kept fucking, let's say Japanese women, shit, yeah, especially 10 generations down, yeah, you think that kid's gonna look like a fucking black dude or some shit?
Hell no.
That dude looking straight goofy. Then you gotta think about it. Then it's not only just that, it's the mannerisms they pick up. Because hey, this is what you've learned, from your parents, right? The schools, the society. So they're not gonna be all, super lively, so to speak. They may look like a goddamn, square, you know what I'm saying? So hey, that's why you gotta be very spiritual in this thing. But keep reading out. Niggas. You got more of these?
No.
I'm holding
This shit wicked, bro. It's like in the Bronx now. The niggas. They started throwing the damn baseball bat at the fucking chicks. Oh man, that shit's wicked, bro. Them Italians are super wicked, bro. What you got?
This is Wisdom of Solomon 17:3. Wisdom of Solomon 17:3 reads, for a while they supposed to lie hid in their secret den. They were scattered under a dark cloud of forgetfulness. being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions. I mean, we're scattered, but again, as the elders has mentioned, it's just a lot of schooling going on where, you know, we have just created.
That's going to Egypt. Yeah, that's
Oh,
going
okay.
into Egypt. No, it's all good out here. That whole like chapter and all that, that's really going into Egypt. What was going on during that time period. But it's all good out here. I'm gonna get this in Matthew 24. It's all good, brother. Hey, shit. You all slip up. But yeah, when you read that whole chapter out, just for edification's sake, that's all going into what happened during Egypt.
Okay.
All right. That actually gets a little more specific of what happened into Egypt because you just read it talking about the apparitions. You know how it was it turned dark in Egypt? They had apparitions actually fucking with the people of the the Egyptians. While we were cool.
Okay.
So that just to give you a little bit of edification. No, it's all good, brother. But this is Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened. Oh, is this the one? Is this the one where it talks about how we're Salaki? Where's his how we've been scattered? Oh, here we go. Here we go, Salaki, my bad. Excuse me. This is Matthew chapter 24. I'll start at 22 though. And except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. Now let me shoot down to verse 31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. All right, so right there it shows you how Jake is going to be literally scattered all over the world. All right, and the Lord is going to save the elect from all these lands. Doesn't matter how they look. All right. You got something?
Romans 8:16 says the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are children of the Most High. So hey, the Spirit is the Word, man. We read these words and we discern through the Holy Spirit in which the Lord has endowed on the righteous man, and we can tell who's the Israelite. Hey, via this, especially if you come to truth, especially if you call on the name of the Lord. Hey, these niggas, if you talking about these false camps, they'll look at the appearance. Oh man, no, he looks like a so-called white guy. Fuck him. No, the Lord said preach to all nations. For what? We tell these niggas his judgment, or tell this nigga he's gonna wake up, or if he don't, that's still another judgment. Man. We're apt to teach. We're easily approachable. We break it down to whoever, man. It don't matter.
Chances him?
What's up, bro?
Is there you don't think the Igbo tribe is considered the first child of Israel is in Africa right now?
Yeah, we already know about the Igbo tribes, but we already know that because look, we just mentioned it earlier, how you basically had mainly the southern kingdom, right? They
Sudan.
got picked up from the west coast of Africa. We already mentioned that actually.
Yeah, you're right.
They're, I believe, was the
Igbo, yeah.
I believe they're in Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So we already know about that, and we said it. We got our people everywhere.
Is there people in Africa, Israelites in Africa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
All right.
Yeah. I mean, whether they know it or not, our people are everywhere. Now, I will say this: we do actually have some camps in Africa, right? I forgot exactly which country. I'd have to look up, every camp. But there's a few brothers out there right now in these different African countries teaching. Just like what we're doing. All right, but did you have anything?
It's John 7:34. 7:33 did say Yahweh shine to them, yet a little while am I with you, and then I go unto him that sent me. Ye shall seek me and shall not find me, and where I am, thither ye cannot come. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we should not find him? Will he go into the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Now the Lord was saying that he has to go to the Father, but hey, they asked, was he going to go to the dispersed? Hey, among the Gentiles, you're going to that. It talks about the Israelites and other nations.
If you can get it in like the NLT.
Yeah.
If you
NLT, what's that?
New Living Translation. 'Cause, there's different versions of translations of the Bible. Now we mainly stick with the King James version. All right, it's the most accurate. All right, translation. You know, for the Greek, the Hebrew, going into the English, right? But these other translations, they're not bad to look at from time to time. And now the NLT, the New Living Translation, it really gets specific. All right, but where honestly it cuts Christianity with that. Honestly, it cuts the whole doctrine of everybody can be saved just off of this. But you got it out in the blue letter? I can help you out. No, that's okay, because there's like a way to do it. I don't know if you know how to switch it up. You know, but you know, I'm gonna get that Tobit that you brought out earlier while that brother's looking for that. If you can help him out real quick, because I really want the New Living NLT version. But this is what was that? Is that Tobit, right? Tobit 13, and I'll start at 3. This is Tobit 13:3. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he has scattered us among them. So right there, it just proves that we've been scattered amongst all these nations. Okay? So with that being said, you got to teach all nations. All right? Because you never know where our people have been scattered to.
There's an organization in Jamaica it's not Rastafari, it's mostly Christian. Call himself like 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribe.
Yeah.
So they call themselves 12 tribe.
Okay, yeah, I know. Well, we got a couple camps out there. I know, there's Jamaica, Trinidad. What else? There's like 2-3 different camps out there, like in the West Indies. You know, in those pockets. I don't know if there's anything like St. Lucia. I forgot, but I know Trinidad and Jamaica for sure. But yeah, you got it now?
Yeah, this is the NLT version, John 7:35, and it reads, "The Jewish leaders were puzzled by this statement.
Okay.
Where is he planning to go?" they asked. "Is he thinking of leaving the country and going to the Jews in the other land? Maybe he will even teach the Greeks."
Exactly. That's a cut. The Jews in the other lands. And see, get real quick that you don't have it. I'm gonna get that in the Maccabees because it talks about the Greeks, right? We gotta go. You got it? Oh, shit, I didn't know that was okay, cool. But yeah, get that. Was it First Maccabees?
That's Judah, right? That's Judas, right?
Yeah, Judas Maccabees. Yeah. Yeah. But this is First Maccabees 1. The first chapter? How basically how we became Hellenized. Yeah. This is First Maccabees 1. I'm gonna start at 7. First Maccabees 1:7. So Alexander, this is talking about Alexander the Greek.
Yeah.
Okay? We don't call him the Greek.
The Greek.
Really, we call him the freak. The Greek.
He's homosexual, yeah.
Yeah, he was a faggot. He had a little boy lover. He was into incest. Oh shit!
I'm pretty sure he was, because homosexual will do any goddamn thing. Homosexual will do any goddamn thing.
Yeah, kind of. Bourgeois were definitely into that shit. But he was a freaky, freaky, all right? Freaky. All right? But it says here, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And he had his 4 generals, all right, that split up his kingdom. And it says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So after did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. And then, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, which is Antiochus the Fourth, okay? Son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the king of the Greeks. Let me keep reading. Verse 11. In those days, when they're out of Israel, wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much
Those
sorrow.
homosexuals too, right?
Who?
In Israel, the homosexual, the ones that
the
ones that are crucified Jesus.
I mean, they could have been.
When Jesus Christ was going to crucify, Eden, what's his name? Pontius Pilate wanted to save Jesus, and he said, "Get me the the most vile, disgusting people, and they will say Jesus, and they say Barabbas.
Yeah,
The homosexuals and lesbians, yeah, say about they love to see black people suffer,
It
yeah.
doesn't really say that, but hey, who knows, man? Because our people are wicked. That's all I'll say on that. I'm gonna keep reading. It says, verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. So this is basically when the Israelites started becoming Hellenized. They became Greeks. Okay? You see? It's just like us, right? We're Israelites with American citizenship. That doesn't mean we're really Americans. That's just a made-up term, really, when you think about it. All right? That's really new speech. Okay? America came about 1776. Okay? You see? That's new speech. That's not a real nationality. And same thing even with the Greeks. That's just a title, a name. That's not your nationality.
Do you think that the Africans that was sold by Ghana and Nigeria were sodomites before they put on the boat?
Like I said,
There was sodomites before they put on the boat, you know, right?
There's been sodomites.
The sodomites before they put on the boat, yeah.
Wickedness is fine.
That's been going on for a long fucking time. You know
The
what I'm
sodomites before they put on the boat, they did. To pacify them, yeah.
saying? Yeah, I mean, shit. Like I said,
But to be considered a color, being over here, a negative color, to be called what we escaped to find peace, but to be rounded up and brought over here, you know, African, American, all these are titles that don't go with who we are.
They're Moors.
There's truth.
even
The truth
Moors
will
is
let
not
you know
even.
who you are, brother.
Because really, if we want to get in specifics, really there's 18 nations. That's it. And you come out of one of those men, all right? You know, but even Moors, that's still a made-up title, a made-up nationality. All right, Moors really goes back to Moreno. All right, I don't know what it is in the Latin, but in Spanish,
What's
it's
Moreno? What's
it's
Moreno?
black.
What's Moreno? What's Moreno?
It's just black.
They don't want to be called black. They don't want the Moors. You call them black. They said no, don't call me black. They said the light-skinned people that came after them call them black. I'm saying they want to be called Moors. They don't want to be called black.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that even that is still when you really get into the like languages, that's all it really means. Now, like I said, I'd have to look it up. I don't know what black is in
Negro,
Latin,
Negro,
you know,
Negro.
But like I said, it all goes back some type of like Latin type of language, you know.
All right, I gotta go. I done my good deed for the day.
Yeah. Alrighty.
All right.
But you can keep. Do you have anything else? But you know, but the point being though is, you know, going back to what we were talking about, this is how Jake became, you know, Greek during this time period, during the time of the Maccabees. All right, you know, Greek captivity, Alexander, Antiochus Epiphanes, etc. All right. And really, when you think about it, those Greeks didn't just make Jake Greeks. They made everybody a Greek. Like right now, you're all American. All right? I don't care if you're African American, you're European American, you're Hispanic American, whatever, you know. They say you're an American. And these people are, him. Yeah. Especially back in the now, it's a little different because there's all this confusion, all this fighting. Everyone wants to rise from oppression. You know what I'm saying? But especially back in the day, I am American, ugly as hell, boy.
Happy as fuck.
1995, got a nice car, a nice fucking house. It was everybody too, you know. Yeah, Jake always suffered, the most, but there's a lot of Jakes that were doing good, man. Got their government jobs, All right, these different, quality programs. So they were in the office too now, typing away. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Shit, wow. But we can another thing too. Just throw it out there. We gotta, you don't want to curse out,
I just like
reprobates right
don't
away.
charge
can-
myself for the
Yeah,
max.
demons on them, you know what I'm saying? Because we dealt with that individual before.
Some guy gonna tell me spend the ball.
So you just gotta kind of work with him, so to speak. And he throws a little thing out there, that might be true. You know what I'm saying? A little edification comes out of it. You correct them on a thing or two, and then just keep it moving.
Seemed like he was a little sober.
Yeah, he was definitely better than last time. Last time
Yeah.
he was some. Woo! Woo! It's Salaki, but yeah, if you got it,
I got one of the basic back of the point that we were trying to go into him before he walked off. That more stuff and people call themselves, well, I'm this, I'm that. It all goes back to you are this. That's what it is. And the Lord has his men waking up. Hey, men, women, and children are elect. This Isaiah 44:5. It says, one shall say, I am the Lord, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and shall name himself by the name of Israel. So the Lord is bringing back his people, whom he wants to elect. And what? They're not going, as it says in Isaiah 10, they're not going to stay on him that's smoking. Oh, my dad's Esau. Hell no. We're going to, stand boldly, preach against these nations. And, preach against the wicked of our people, and wake up who needs to get woken up, man. Thus saith the Lord. And it's all through the Lord's will. And that's why you niggas, you can't pinpoint how this happened. Because it's all of the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashanam Shai. You can't put a carnal means to it. Well, this, that, and the third, X, Y, and Z. No, it's all of the Lord's. And ultimately, who's meant to wake up, as you read that John 10. The sheep are going to hear the Lord's voice and follow him. And no one go pluck him out the bottom's hand and go to heaven. Yeah, snatch it out the Lord's hand. Get the fuck out of there, man.
This is John 7:24. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. And you see, you gotta, really have that discernment. And that's why you have to dialogue with people. All right, you really gotta talk to. Well, first off, give real quick. What is it? Study to show thyself the truth. Get that real quick. There's a reason why I want that. Because before you can even properly dialogue with the individual, you gotta be studying. Okay? Look, prophets are historians. They know geography. Okay? They should know they should be economics. All right? Hey, we're the top tier men of the earth. We should know a little bit of everything. Now, you may be a little bit better in this or that, right? Because the scriptures talk about how we all have our, we're different members, got our different gifts, right? But you should still be a jack of all trades. You should be balanced. You should have, because the scriptures talk about being temperate, which goes into being balanced. You should, know a little bit of everything, so you can hold a conversation with whomever comes up. All right, but you got that real quick?
Let's 2 Timothy 2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth.
Yeah, and that word rightly dividing goes into teaching correctly and directly. All right, so you got to make sure that you're on point. And with that being said, you got these Israelites, right? They know some basic 101 stuff. I'll give them that, right? But they don't, look, man, they're lazy, okay? A lot of them, they don't do their own, digging. They don't, watch, I'll be straightforward. You guys don't watch the History Channel. Now, of course, you got to always, chew the meat, spit out the bones with all these things. But you guys don't get into the History Channel. You don't watch period pieces. You don't read, these different books besides the Bible. Now, we understand that the Bible is the most accurate book out there, but these other books help explain what's written in the scriptures. It gives you more of a deeper knowledge of what's going on. Okay? All right? Now, what was that scripture that I had? Was I reading it?
That John 7? No,
What the hell was I going to say? Because there was a reason why I brought that up. I asked you. There was another scripture prior to that. Oh, that's what. So you got to be you have to know this Bible in and out, and then know, like I said, a lot of like, you know, secular history, etc., right? Geography, right? So then you can be able to teach, and then you can actually start having some discernment too. Because look, if you were studied, you will understand, man, our people have been distractions, bro. God damn, bro. But you know, you would understand that. Look, our people, you know, have been scattered to this area, that area, right? Now this Edomite looking guy might actually be a Jake, or this, you know, this Chinese guy might be a Jake. This Arab I'm talking to actually might be Jake. And it's crazy because really, all these nations were all close to one another at the beginning of time. It's not like, oh, you were spread out all the way down there, he was spread out all the way over there. No, everybody was close together, man. All right? You know? What they call the Middle East, really is Western Asia. That's what everybody's pretty much from. Mesopotamia. Okay? That general, you know what I'm saying, region. You see? Because, hey, what? All nations now, of course, we all stem back from Adam, right? But then you have what? Shem, Ham, and Japheth. They were brothers, and what? You think that after the flood, they're like, yep, I'm Shem, I'm going to go this way. Ham, you go that way.
Yeah.
All right, Japheth, you go that way. And yeah.
Take our wives.
No, man, they were, hey, you know, together, and then, you know, over time, then things started, then, you know, things started, separating, you see? You know, it's just, you gotta use a little bit of extrapolation. Come on, let's use our heads here. You know, everyone's just a goddamn idiot. What do you expect, man? We're in America.
And again, when you're in the truth, you pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushua for guidance. He'll get you through. He'll get you through. That's why we're in this truth. It's not by accident. Only through Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
Feel something out? Get real quick. Just give Revelation 7. All right. We're gonna give Revelation 7. We'll kind of go through. We don't have to read like where it's like 12,000. Start at 1 though.
Revelations 1.
I'll tell you when to skip down though. Okay. We'll start at Revelation 1, or it's like 7 and 1. Excuse me.
All right, this is Revelation 7 and 1, and it reads, "And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth."
Keep going.
Okay, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Keep going.
Verse 2, "And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea." Verse 3, saying, "Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, Salakia, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of Yahweh in their forehead."
Keep going.
Verse 4, "And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed, and 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel."
Right. So, because there's a reason why I'm bringing all this out. You got this goes into the 144,000, the 12 tribes, 12,000 from each tribe. That's talking about basically the top tier elect men, you know, the prophets. All right, top of the line, you know, creme de la creme. All right, cream of the crop. Okay, see. Now you'll have a lot of people, because you'll have even some of these like different Christian groups. They'll be like, yeah, we know that the 144,000 are Israelites, but that mixed multitude, which that's what we're going to get into. That's talking about the Gentiles. Nope. The Gentiles, what is that? Can you get that real quick? And I want you to go into these a few of these words too, but we'll read the verses first. Because when you get into the Greek, that's going to cut all that madness. All right, that everybody can get saved. Read it out.
Revelation 7 and 9 reads, "After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne, before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands.
Okay, now go into the Greek, look up the like the words tongue, those are nations, kindreds, those are nations, kindreds, what's the last one? Read all those, and when we get them, every single one of those words, definitions basically go into you coming from a specific tribe. And one of them literally says you got to come from one of the Israelite, one of the 12 tribes of Israel. You got to be an Israelite. So that this cuts, like I said earlier, that everybody can get saved. No, this is for the Israelites. All right, you got it, Ash?
Yeah, you got it. This is a word for nations.
Okay, so this is just nations. Word 1 out of the 3.
This is the outline of biblical usage. The multitude of individuals of the same nature.
Of the same nature, keep going.
Or genus, the human
Or genus.
family. The human family, a tribe, nation, people, group.
So right there it said tribe. That's specific. It is a tribe.
Right.
Right? That's enough of that one. Let's go to the next one.
Oh,
Just to cut all this.
Next one's kindreds.
Kinfolk. Body, something like that.
right. In the NT, are the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob.
Exactly. So you gotta be an Israelite.
Nation of people, yes, sir.
But and you get the last one, just to prove a point. And then that, we can shut down after
Then the last one's tongue.
The tongue of a member of the body, an organ of speech, a tongue, the language of our dialect, used by a particular people distinct from that of other nations.
this. Exactly. So it's all of the same people basically. So that cuts up that BS that God's coming for everybody.
Band-aid.
True. All right.
Sir.
The reason why it spoke about, it came from all nations, kindreds, and tongues is because we've been scattered. That's in Deuteronomy 28:64. Read your Bible. With that, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Also, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all your brothers out there. Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.
Oh.